Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherry Mayberry, and welcome to our quick 30-minute webinar on a quick walkthrough Whiz curriculum. Your host and trainer tonight will also be Beth Smith. She's on the other line. And just a little bit of stuff before we get started. Up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should see like a little audio box and orange arrow and a microphone. Just to let you know, everyone is muted. So that's in case you got the dogs in the background or the kids in the background. You won't be bothering other people. You either had to decide if you were going to do your computer audio or a phone call. And hopefully most of you have figured that out by now, and you have selected one and either dialed in or you're listening on your computer. As we go through the training tonight, you've got one handout. It is on our webpage, so if you don't get it during the webinar, you can download it later, and Beth will show you where that's located. You also see a question box. During the webinar, if you've got a question about anything, please go ahead and type it in there. Beth will probably ask you from time to time if you have questions and give you a chance. She'll stop and ask, but if you just can't wait, go ahead and type it in, and I'll try to communicate to you one-on-one, or try to let everyone see your question and respond so the whole group can see. Again, we hope to get this done in about 30 minutes, and we've got people in just about every state. So we appreciate all the way from the West Coast, everyone joining us tonight, and we want to get going and get started, so not to use up too much of your time. Beth?
Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Beth Smith, as Sherry just said, and I'm going to be walking you through a Whiz lesson plan tonight. I know we have a variety of folks on the line, again, from all over the place, but also some of you are customers and some of you are not, and that's great. We love to have a mix. But the reason we're doing this is we felt it was very important for those of you who are customers just to have a little refresher on all of the parts and pieces that go into the lesson plans with GWiz, but also to help those of you who may not be familiar with GWiz learn a little bit more about how we do things. The lesson plans, as those of you who are customers know, are just one of multiple components that are included in the curriculum each month, but it is probably the biggest component in terms of helping you know what's going to be happening every day and helping you address the 10 developmental areas and what we call our 40 learning indicators or skills. And Sherry mentioned the handout, which is in the download box. You can click on that and download it. That is our PDF we just created that covers all 10 of the developmental areas in GWiz, the picture codes we use for them, and those of you who are not familiar with that, I'll explain it in a second, and also the learning indicators associated with each area. So if you haven't had a chance to grab that, grab it now, or I am going to show you where it is on our website, and it is something that is available to everyone, not just those of you who are customers. So in fact, I am not logged in as a customer right now. So those of you who are not GWiz customers, do not feel like you're going to miss out on any of this, because this is what we're going to walk through right now is something that you have available to you as a non-customer. And then I'm going to log in and I'll show you all the parts and pieces. But what we're going to do right now is, for those of you who are not familiar, our website is simply gwizeducation.com. There's a ton of information under this tab, but right now I'm just going to go right to the sample lesson plan. We have two options here. We have one option that is, it has call outs that explains all the different parts of a lesson plan, but because I'm going to walk you through it, I'm going to skip over to this one. If you are not a customer, and even if you are, we always have this available. This is one day of a GWiz curriculum that you can download and try. So this is something that anybody, whether you're a customer or not a customer, you are welcome to download and also to share with fellow providers. So if you belong to an association or a group and you want to share this link, you can certainly do that. So I'm just going to click on it. It is a PDF file, so you can actually save this to your computer if you choose, or you can print it out. If you want to save it and download it, you would do it here. If you want to print it, you'd obviously do it there. And this is one of our lesson plans taken from a unit we did called Balls, Blankets, and Boxes. Now, one of the things to know about GWiz, and those of you who are customers will know this, is we try to use things you have at hand, hence balls, blankets, and boxes. We use a lot of things you would have around the house, like baking sheets or wooden spoons or plastic bowls or grocery bags, the paper version, obviously. And this is intentional. We know that family child care providers like yourselves have very little time to gather materials. You certainly don't want to have to go out and buy things, and we don't want you to. And our philosophy is that, you can do a lot of high quality learning activities with children that don't require a lot of money or time in terms of gathering the materials to do them. So we're going to walk through a couple of examples within actually this lesson plan. The first page just has a little introduction, and then we have this chart right here, this little box. And if you downloaded the developmental areas and learning indicators handout, you'll see these something quite similar, but with a little more detail. In the GWIS curriculum, we cover 10 developmental areas and 40 skills. The 10 areas are here in the boxes, and the skills are these codes that you're seeing here. So for instance, LD1, LD2, LD3, and LD4 are all learning indicators linked to language development. And I can go into more detail in just a second on that. And you'll see this picture code right here. It looks like a speech bubble. So when we write our lesson plans, we use these picture codes right here so that when you're looking at the lesson plans, you can see quickly and easily which activity addresses which area of development. And you will see very quickly that you will never have an activity in the GWIS curriculum that is simply, for instance, science knowledge, because science isn't just science, right? Science is science, but there's probably math involved. There's definitely language involved. There's social and emotional involved. There's approaches to learning involved. There might even be creative arts involved. There could be literacy involved, depending on the experience. And so when we write our lesson plans, what we try to do for all of you is we try to cover as many of these developmental areas as we can in the lesson plans every single day so that you are meeting your state standards. I don't care if you're in Florida or Illinois or California or Washington State, you're going to have some set of your developmental standards for your state that have to do with language development. You're going to have some that have to do with logic and reasoning. When we created the company of GWiz, we looked across the states of all the different standards out there, including Head Start standards, including all the different states. And there's definitely a pattern there of the different areas. And so when we created the curriculum, we looked at those areas, narrowed it down to these 10, came up with these titles, and then came up the associated skills. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. All right, so each lesson plan in the GWIS curriculum is 2 pages. In the curriculum, if you are a customer, every month you have access to 2 new units. And each unit has a teaching guide that has 10 days of activities plus school age activities in the teaching guide. So, because you have 2 units each month and each unit has a 10-day teaching lesson plan guide, you really have 20 days of lesson plans within that month. Okay, and I'm going to show you what a full teaching guide looks like in just a second. But first, we're going to walk through the lesson plans. So you'll notice we don't have dates, and that's intentional. This unit could really be done at any time. And so we wanted it to be flexible for you. So we didn't date anything. So we don't put holidays and seasonal activities in the teaching guide. Instead, we give them to you for free and we post them on our website. You don't need to be a customer to get to them. We send you an email. We say, hey, we're posting new activities for, we just did the 4th of July, for instance, and you can just go and download them. So we do cover those things. We just don't do it in the lesson plans because not everybody covers all of those things and didn't want it written into the lesson plans. So then we have our focus for the day, which today is fun with packing boxes. And then you're going to see a whole big string of picture codes. Well, why are these here? Well, these are here because these are the activities or the developmental areas you're going to address if you do all of the experiences on these 2 pages for day 2 of the unit, balls, blankets, and boxes. Now, those of you who are customers, challenge yourself. I'm going to name all these areas. Let's see if you can do them too in your head. All right, so this heart is social and emotional, language development, physical development, approaches to learning, creative arts, science knowledge, music, literacy skills or literacy knowledge, social studies knowledge, math knowledge, and logic and reasoning. So, what this means is if you do all the things we have planned on these 2 pages, you will cover all those areas of development for your children. Okay? So, very inclusive. Our approach is very, very inclusive. We include a health and safety tip every day. We include a teaching tip every day and then a transition idea. The transition idea is to help you move children physically and mentally from one activity or one area to another. So let's say that you're moving from inside to outside play. Well, today you can have the children pretend to deliver packages as they're moving from inside to outside, and that helps link what's happening inside to what's happening outside. Or maybe it's transitioning to washing hands, or maybe it's transitioning to nap time. Whenever, you can use it multiple times. Over in the blue box, you're going to see these words. Today's vocabulary. We do not want you to print these on index cards. No, no, no. These are words we want you to use in conversations with children. We know that a lot of you are evaluated using either Vickers 3, Vickers R, um, the other one, class. There's a lot of different environmental rating scales that are used to evaluate providers. A big part of that evaluation has to do with your engagement with children, back and forth conversations, and this is one way to do that. Plus, if you use these words in context with children, even if they're not verbal, they will begin to understand what the words mean. And then when they become more verbal, they'll be able to use those words in a way that is meaningful and that makes sense. So let's say you're using the word package today as you talk with the children and you're doing the activities. Well, they'll begin to understand what a package is. And then when they become more verbal, they can use the word package. And children who are already verbal will begin to use that word in context as they do the experiences. Then down here, we have some more examples of other ways you can model language during today's experiences. Then we have this exploring together. We used to call it circle time. I'm sure all of you have a group time. This is your group time, but we don't call it circle time and we don't call it group time. We call it exploring together. And why do we do that? Well, because if you read the experience, you'll see it's not just simply you're sitting there leading the experience and talking and the children are listening. This is a time when you're engaging with the children and exploring together exactly what it says. The first bullet always tells you the why behind it, which is really important. Those of you who've been to my, the why behind experiences webinar will know. I always say, if you don't know why you're doing an activity, you probably shouldn't do it. You have to have a goal. You have to have something in mind when you create the activity. Up here, you're going to see another list of picture codes. Again, these are the areas of development that you address during this specific activity. So those of you who are customers, challenge yourself again. What do we have? We have language, social and emotional, literacy, science, logic and reasoning, physical development, music, creative arts, social studies, and approaches to learning. All those areas in this one activity. And then the activity is just written so that you can just read through it, and it's very simplistic on what you're going to do, and what you hope to achieve is right here in this first bullet. Over here, we have open-ended questions that we want you to ask as you're doing this experience. And why do we want you to do that? Again, coming back to the importance of engaging with children in conversations, back and forth. These open-ended questions are great because they open the door for children to share their ideas, which then helps you scaffold and build upon those. So I'm going to pause for 1 second here because I've just gone through literally the first page of one day of a GWIS lesson plan covering just the overall and the exploring together. I want to see if I have any questions that you want me to answer before I go on to the second page of the one day of GWIS lesson plans.
And again, all you need to do is type it in that question box. You'll see type question here. That's where you type it. And then we can see it and share it with everyone. Don't have anything yet. And also in the box, in the question box, I reminded you that you will be able to download that handout later. And just for any of you that don't know the website. So I think we're good, Beth.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on to the second page. All right, so the second page of a GWIS lesson plan has 2 activities in pink, and then down at the bottom there's one in purple. And we'll scroll down there in just a second. Let me go up to these. Whoops, a little too fast. Let me go to the pink one. All right, so we have our exploring together, which is like our group experience, right? Now we have two more experiences that are for your mixed ages, toddlers to fours, that you can do either set up independently where it's like a free choice activity, but you're going to be engaging with the children by asking open-ended questions, providing them with additional materials if they need it. You're supporting them. So think of it as a supporting role. In the group experience, you're the leading role. In these experiences, you're more the supporting role. So we have two experiences, packing and shipping and banging on boxes. You're going to see again picture codes. So for this activity, packing and shipping, these are the areas you're going to address. For banging on boxes, these are the areas you're going to address. You also see this little sunshine symbol. That just means that you could do this outside if you wanted to. If it's a nice day, take it outside. Do it both places. Do it inside and do it outside. It's interesting to see how children change as you move maybe even the same material or the same thing from inside to outside. Sometimes the play is entirely different. So you'll see up here we have the things you're going to need. And again, anything in red, it just means it might be a little extra time for you to gather it or locate it. This experience, you'll see these different ages listed here. And why do we have those? Well, because this experience could use some adapting based on developmental age, not chronological age. So, not I'm a 2 year old, I'm a 3 year old, I'm a 4 year old, but more how am I functioning? Where am I developmentally? So, what I will say is when I'm doing training on this is all right, read this entire activity, read all the options, and think about each individual child in your group. All right. Some children may do better doing the activity this way. Some children may do better doing it this way. Some children, you might even need to adapt it further, and that's okay. We want you to do that. On the other hand, over here on banging on boxes, we don't have any levels except for your advanced preschoolers, and that's so we can add in maybe some additional literacy or math or something like that. But this is an activity because of the design of the activity that the children will automatically adapt it based on where they are developmentally. You don't really need to do much because they're going to do it based on where they are. And then down here at the bottom in purple, we have our infant experience. We believe it's very important to have infant experiences that are one-on-one. Does this mean you can't do this rhyme with other children? Absolutely not. But it does mean that in these purple boxes, you're going to find experiences for tummy time. You're going to find experiences for diapering. You're going to find experiences for like before nap time because you spend a lot of time doing those routines with children who are infants, and there's no reason why those can't be learning activities and teachable moments in addition to be a routine time. So this is what I just went through is literally one day out of a GWIS lesson plan. All right. And considering that you will have 20 of these in a month, 2 different units, 20 different days, you have a lot of choices. In this sample one, because we wanted you to actually try it, we've even given you the printable puppet that you'll need for the first activity on this day. For this exploring together, you're going to need Max the mail carrier puppet, which we put in here. So my challenge to you, those of you who are not customers, is to actually print this out and try it. See how it works. We at GWIZ know that there is no such thing as a curriculum that is right for everybody. And we also believe it's really, really important for a curriculum to be a good fit for you, that you're comfortable using, and that you feel will work well in your group. So that's why we created this one-day sample, was so you could try it. We also do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can sign up, say, to pay monthly, and you get into it 2 weeks, you're like, this is just not going to work for me. You can just let us know, and we will refund your money because we want you to be happy. All right. Those of you who are customers, I would encourage you to share this with your fellow providers, your association members, whomever that you think could benefit from it. And speaking of current customers, I'm going to ask a question right now of those of you who are on the call who are active GWIZ customers and have been using the curriculum to say, what is it about GWIZ that you like best? What is the one thing that makes it the best fit for you? Because we always love to hear that from our customers, and too often we don't get to. So I have you on the line before I move to something else. I just want to ask that question, like, what is it about GWIZ that you find works so well for your program? And you can just type that in the question box, and Sherry will read those answers out so that we can share them with everybody.
Okay, we have got easy to use. Um,
That is one of our big goals.
yeah, yeah. Um, Works well with mixed age groups. Just slowly sending some things in. But and as you type them in even later, if you think about it, I can share as Beth goes through the presentation and read them. Because sometimes you just got to think about it a minute.
And while
Everybody's doing.
while people are typing or getting ready to share anything, I just want to remind you how I got here. So first of all, I was at the gwizeducation.com website. I just went under about the curriculum and you just go down to sample lesson plans and that's it. You'll find it. Now, if you want to see what our yearly outline is, that will be under this tab. In other words, what we're covering every month. So let me show you, for instance, right now, what our July units are. So I'm going to go into the we run on a school year. So August will be the last of the 2023-2024, and then we move to September. So right now for July, our 2 units are forest explorations and at the beach. And then you can see all the different things we're going to cover under each one of those units. So keep in mind, you'll have a teaching guide with 10 days of activities for this unit, and you'll have another teaching guide with 10 days of activities for this unit. And then a whole bunch of parts and pieces, which I'm going to show you in just a second, that go with that. All right.
One of the responses, everything is done for you.
Hopefully that saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
We know you don't have a lot of extra time. We know how hard you
Gotcha.
work. We really do.
Okay. That's about it right now, Beth.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I don't know how many of you on here are customers and how many are not, but I want to show those of you who are not customers all the important materials that come with it because the teaching guide is just one piece of a big puzzle. Before I do that, though, the handout that Sherry has up there about the developmental areas and indicators, if you go to educational resources, resources for providers, and then helpful tools, it's going to be the very first thing where it says click here. And this is what that handout looks like. So it reminds you, all right, the 10 areas that we cover, the picture code associated with them, and then all the skills that are tied to that area. We use these codes as skills. We call them learning indicators. So there's 2 pages for this for the 10 different areas. So to get there, again, I just went under educational resources, resources for providers, and then helpful tools. All of the things under educational resources and all of the things under about the curriculum and all of the things under training and support, you do not need to be a customer to access. So if you want there's a great resources for instance, under here for health and safety, there's developmental disability information. Here's where we put our seasonal and holiday things. There's a whole booklet on parent involvement, one on the learning environment. All of these materials are free and available to you if you're not a customer. Right now, what I'm going to do is log in and show you how easy it is to get to the curriculum. So let's see if I can type my password the right way. Let's first if I can remember my password, because I'm not the best at remembering passwords. All right, let's see. Am I in? And yes. All right, it's as easy as that. I've logged in and I'm going to scroll down and here are the July units. Forest exploration and at the beach. All right, I'm just going to go into the first one just to show you all the different components that come with it. So for those of you who are customers, you already know about this. You can choose to download all the files at one time by clicking the button, or you can just go to each individual one. But I want to show you the teaching guide. So I'm going to go into the teaching guide. And I believe this one was about 35 pages. That is correct. Introduction, just a little overview. There's also a chart down here to help you remember about those program symbols that we use. This is an overview of the entire unit. And then we start right in with the lesson plans, just like we saw in the sample. The difference is I'm in a full teacher's guide. So I'm going to have 10 days that look like that. Scrolling quickly, sorry. And then I have 6 school age activities in this booklet. We also have an additional booklet of school age activities I'll show you in just a second. So if you have school age children during the summer or after school during the school year, these are fun and educational activities for them to do. This one is the first unit, so it has a story and props that go with it. And the story's in the teaching guide here, and the props are in a different file. This explains how to complete the Make It sheets and our Let's Read Together books. I'll show you those in a minute. We have a chart that has all by day. So let's say you need to know the skills that each activity addresses. Right here it is. Here's the name of the activity, and here's all the skills that it addresses. And we have another component called connecting the dots that gets into even more detail about what those skills are. So you don't even need to remember what LD1 is. We give you a book list. The songs and rhymes and poems are always in the back. And then I often give things like this. So one of the things we're doing is talking about squirrels in this unit, and we're going to have a hunt for nuts, and we're going to count nuts, and we're going to do things with nuts. Well, obviously you don't want to use real nuts with children for multitudes of reasons. So instead I gave you paper cutouts that you can use for the nuts. So anything I can do to save you time, I put in the back of the teacher's guide. All right, so that's just the teacher's guide for one unit. You would have in a month 2 of these. One for this unit was the forest and the other is the beach. This is our new weekly activity plan. We just added this year. So this is like a block plan. So if you need a block plan to submit to someone about what you're teaching, this is basically taking the teacher's guide into a nutshell. And it details everything that's in the teacher's guide, plus we've given you an outside activity idea, and then we left a space for you to add your own interest area materials ideas. This comes, and all of these come with every unit, by the way. Here's the story props I just mentioned that you would then, this is one thing you would need to print out and put together because you'll need it to tell the story. We give you a materials list that has everything you need for the entire unit listed by day, so you know what you're going to need. Again, anything in red just might need a little extra time. Our letters and literacy booklet is for those children who are getting ready to go to kindergarten or who are ready to start talking about in more depth letters, letter sounds, words. And what we've done is we've taken the activities within the teaching guide, so you don't need to do additional activities. You're just going to expand upon the ones you're already doing. You're going to do the fun with the colors of the forest activity with everybody on page 4. You're going to talk about the letter F with those children who are ready, and this is how you're going to do it. All right, so this is for those children who are ready for that. Our add in enhance gives you ideas of materials to add to your interest areas, both inside and outside. The connecting the dots is that piece I just mentioned that has the chart, but then it takes it a step further and it says, okay, in this unit, forest explorations, LD1 is our skill for understand spoken language. These are all the activities that are going to address that skill. This helps you connect to your formal assessment tool, whatever that assessment might be, and or your state standards, because I guarantee in your state standards, there is some state standard code, no matter where you are, that has to do with spoken language. You could write that code right here, and that helps you connect to your state standards, or if you're doing an assessment, and you, let's say you're using teaching strategies gold, there's probably some skill that has to do with spoken language. You can write that code here and you've connected to your assessment. So that way I need to assess a child on spoken language. These are the activities I can do that. And this comes with every unit as well. All these things come with every unit as well. Whoops, I went a little too far. Hit that button twice, sorry. I apologize. All right, scrolling back down again because I went too far too fast. Um, we have our school age fun booklet. This is additional school age activities. There's 4 more activities and a printable in this book for your school age children. This is our customized individualized planner. Let me make sure I pull up the right one. I'm going to pull up the PDF version. It comes as a PDF where you can print it and write in the boxes, or you can type using the Word version. You put the children's names up here and then how you're going to individualize these activities in these boxes if you need to keep a record of how you're individualizing. This is a helpful tool. The observe and reflect grid is something you can use to do your anecdotal notes. So you would write your anecdotal notes, then you would reflect upon them and plan based on those. And you can print that out as many times as you need to, and as many copies. The All About My Week report is something that you send home on Friday. I would encourage you to make a copy of it before you send it home, but it's just a little snapshot of what the children are enjoying the most, what they're getting good at, what they're learning to do, what they're working on. And this is available in English and Spanish. Our family letter is also available in English and Spanish. It gives an overview of the unit. It has ideas of things they can do, bath time, meal time, out and about, and bedtime. And then we usually put a song or a rhyme they can sing together at the end. Again, available in English and Spanish. The individualization web is a tool you can use to interweave a child's interests and or special needs into the unit. And it walks you through in our user guide exactly how to do that, and also in our onboarding number 3 webinar. The digital family notes are like a photo on your phone. They're a JPEG, and you can text these to families. They're really simple things they can do at home to reinforce the unit, and there's 2 of those. The make it sheets are things that you can choose to use or not. This was to make a puppet that they were going to use for dramatic play. We talk about porcupines. And then this one is something that you would send home and they can practice finding and counting the forest animals. The Make It Sheets goal really is family involvement. It's not a color custom paste. It's more of something that is a tool. It might be a lotto game. It could be pattern strips and cards. It could be like the one where they find the forest animals and count them, something like that. And our Let's Read Together booklet is a simple story that you can use in your program any way you want and then send it home to help families build literacy skills. And we even built in our open-ended questions at the end for them. So that is just one unit of 2 for July. This was the forest unit. All those components I just showed you come in every GWhiz unit, not just this one. So every unit. Those of you who are customers, do you have a favorite component from GWhiz besides the teacher's guide? Of course, everybody loves the teacher's guide, but what's your next most favorite component besides the teacher's guide in the units? I'm curious to see what you say and what you think. And those of you who are not customers, do you have any questions about any of the components I just went through? I know that's a lot to take in, but we're trying to keep this, and we're running out of time right at about 30 minutes. So
Everybody's tired. Too slow to respond,
too
but that's
hot.
okay. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, no jumping on. We got plenty of people out there. Somebody step up and share what you really enjoy.
Yeah, and any questions about anything like those of you who are not familiar with GWhiz, do you have a better idea now of what it is? Like, has this helped you to better understand how we do things at GWhiz, how we address all the ages? And you can just say yes or no to that question if you want.
Hopefully, you feel like this 30 minutes you spent with us, that you got something out of this time. But no questions coming up
Okay.
and no favorite items, but that's
All right. Well,
okay.
I'm just going to go back to the home page right now. And hopefully it'll let me do this, but I think there's a button here, and I don't know if it'll let me go there or not because I'm logged in. I'm going to try it and see. Yes, it does. All right. So those of you who are not customers, we have 3 different options for you. You can pay monthly, you can pay quarterly, or you can pay yearly. This obviously saves you the most money. Again, we do offer a money back guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. We get it. Just let us know within 30 days. But I do want to show those of you who are not customers under training and support, we do have a special offer for back to school that can save you some money. So if you use the code back to school 24, you'll save $5 on your first month, $10 on your first quarter, or $20 on your year. So just want to let you know that is available and is out there. Um, so with that, again, we're trying to keep this quick and to the point. So does anybody have any questions I can answer, whether you're a customer or not a customer, anything I can answer about GWhiz, and before we let you go for the evening?
All right, we do have a couple of responses on their favorite piece. One person, they really like the family connection activities. It's helped me understand more in the classroom. Price looks reasonable. I'm new to GWhiz, and this has given me a better understanding of the curriculum. So those are
Good.
just a few comments that we appreciate your comments and feedback.
Yes.
That helps us.
Absolutely. So again, if you're not a customer, my challenge to you is start by going to About the Curriculum and do the sample lesson plan and just try it. See how it works, right? And if you find it works well for you, take advantage of our back to school special and sign up because now's a perfect time to do that. You can save a little money and you'll be all ready for the school year, which as I'm hearing is starting in a couple weeks in many places, scarily. But any other last minute questions I can answer from anyone? Anything at all before we say goodnight?
Another family, oh, yes, another family activities. They like those. Just some of the same things,
Good,
family activities, which is great.
good,
Um,
good. I'm glad to
right.
hear it. We try really hard to make your life a little bit easier because, like I said, we know how hard you work. And we just really want to be here to support you in everything that you do. So we appreciate you. And I know you don't hear that often, but you work really, really hard and you do make a difference in the lives of thousands and millions of children. So our hats are off to you. So we just want to make your life a little easier.
But thank you very much. And if you have any questions, um, you can always email us at customer service, which Beth, did you showed them that, right? Under the,
Oh, it's under training and support, and you can just go down to send us an email. And if you click on that, there's a form, and you can just fill it out if you have any questions to send it to us. Oh, and the other thing is this is being recorded, so the link you use to join will actually allow you to go back and listen to the recording, and you are welcome to share that link with other people, so they can also. If they weren't able to come tonight and you said, hey, I know somebody that might really like this, let me send them that link. They should be able then, once it's up and posted, I don't know how long that takes, Sherry, but once it's processed, I guess you could say, they should be able to watch the recording.
yeah, I mean, if you use the link you use to sign up for the webinar, that link, once it gets processed on Citrus, will be available for you to review right
And
there.
we will post it here too
Yeah,
under our
yeah,
webinar training page. We'll make sure it goes on there. All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, if there's no
Okay.
other questions, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a great evening. Try to stay cool. I hear it's really,
Yeah,
really hot everywhere. So you
it
take
is.
care. And if you think of anything, just shoot us an email.
All right. Thank you. Good
Bye.
night.